morning. This is Karin Lanning from the YMCA of Greater Michiana, coming to you from the O'Brien Center and bringing you a 45-minute yoga class. So we're really going to focus on stretching the hips and the lower back and hamstrings. So if you want to just go ahead and get into a comfortable seated position or child's pose, that's a great way to start. And just take a little opportunity to breathe. So we're here with our live group, and we're just going to begin by taking the toes together behind us, opening the knees nice and easy, and then just easing forward. So that might be letting the forearms reach to the floor. And then as you begin to relax your hips, you might start to let that head hang down toward the mat. And maybe even just resting that forehead on the ground. Now we're just going to bring awareness to the toes. And they're resting comfortably on the floor. You feel the stretch through the front of your foot. And just relaxing the lower part of the leg. Bringing awareness to how the knees are feeling. Do you need to move the legs wider or narrower so that you can relax the hips back towards the heels? And as you exhale, just allow the body to rest towards the mat. You've brought your forehead to the floor. The eye gaze might just go back towards the toes. We're going to breathe in deep. And as we exhale, let those hips soften. Feel the quadricep muscles release the tension. And just allow the lower back to stretch here. Bring awareness to the hips. Let them soften. And feel free to shift if you need to allow those muscles to relax completely. And then let's just find a little length for the spine. So maybe the crown of the head reaches a little farther forward. Start to relax the shoulders towards the mat. And if you want, you can even take those elbows wide, taking just a little bit of pressure out of the shoulders. So the key is to find a comfortable position, allowing all of the body to rest. Breathing deep all the way into the belly. Completely relaxing on the exhale. Let's just focus on the upper back and the neck. Do you need to spread the shoulders wider to create a little more space? Just a little closer towards the chest. Feel the stretch through the back of the neck and the spine.
You make a road for the spirit to pass You can open and close the jaw. Take a couple deep inhales here. Exhale and soften. And on that next inhale, we're going to slowly rise up to horse stance. So brace the core. Inhale. Come into horse stance with knees under hips, hands underneath shoulders. Spread your fingers wide and feel the pressure all the way through the fingertips. So you're feeling all that pressure in the ground, taking pressure off of the wrist here. And you roll the shoulders back and down to engage the back, and then pull the belly in, squeeze the glutes. And from here, we're going to inhale, let the belly drop first. And that last bit of movement is the lift of the head as we deepen that inhale. And then exhale, pull the belly button in, rounding the back. And finally letting the head drop as we move to cat. Again, belly moves first as we inhale, letting the belly relax completely and drop towards the floor. And inhaling, maybe even opening the mouth as we inhale fully. And exhaling, pulling the belly in, rounding the back, feeling that stretch, letting the head drop. Nice slow movement for our bodies today. Coming back to neutral. Take the knees just a little bit wider this time. Bring the toes together and set back towards that child's pose again. Just see if we can reach out a little bit farther this time. Let those forearms touch if that's comfortable. And lastly, letting the head come towards the floor. Maybe the forehead rests. But think of the crown of the head reaching forward and creating length for the spine as you soften the hips towards the heels. I'm going to take a gentle inhale, lifting the right arm all the way up to the ceiling. Inhale. All the way up. And as you exhale, thread that arm underneath the left, setting that right arm down to the ground with the palm up so that the shoulder and ear on the right side can rest comfortably onto the floor. And we're just going to breathe here, so see if we can soften those hips back towards the heels. Let that breath come in deep all the way to the belly. Feel that beautiful shoulder stretch. And we take a nice gentle twist through the spine. The belly button is tight. With that next inhale, we're going to reach that right arm back up to the ceiling. And exhale as we place it in front of us. Sinking again into that child's pose. Letting the body soften. And we move to the left side, inhaling. Stretching that left arm all the way up to the ceiling. And then threading the needle. Just being aware of how this side feels as opposed to the other side. We want to find that deep stretch on each side, but safely. So can you relax that left arm, allow the body just naturally find its own stretch. Breathing deep into the belly. Softening the hips so that they're stretched at the same time. And with that next inhale, reaching that left arm up to the ceiling. And exhaling it back in front. Letting the forehead rest. And then if it feels comfortable, you might just try taking those hands back down by the ankles. And you want that spine to stay straight. So that forehead is resting on the floor. The eye gaze is toward the toes, and the chin is tucked slightly towards the chest. You might even want to grab a hold of the heels, or you might reach those fingertips underneath the hips and link your hands. Whatever feels good. And if it feels best just to keep those arms out front, we stay there. Another deep breath here. And then unlink those hands. Bringing them underneath shoulders and pressing as we lift in to our horse stance again. So tuck those knees underneath the hips. Spread the fingers wide. Press into the fingers, the palm of the hand, the thumb. Roll the shoulders back and down. And then we're going to just move through cat and cow again. So inhale, let the belly drop. Let the hips tip up to the ceiling. Bring the head up. And exhale, rolling slowly through to cat. Keeping the hips and shoulders in the same position as the spine moves through, breathing in again. And exhaling, rounding the back. And then this time, let's tuck the toes under. Take an inhale here, brace the core. We're going to press to our first down dog, so just nice and easy. And from here, we're just going to pedal those heels. So just take a little time to see where the body's at with this down dog. Making sure that we're still pressing evenly through the fingertips so that that weight does not rest solely in the wrists. And then you might decide, do you want to let the hips start to turn a little with those heel lifts? Just a nice, slow, easy shift. And then coming back to that neutral position, you can bend the knees slightly if you need. The heels can be off the floor as we find that down dog. We're going to shift the weight into the left foot. Brace the core and inhale that right leg up to the ceiling. And then bend that right knee and let that hip open. So we're keeping those shoulders square. You might roll that ankle. You might be feeling a really big calf stretch in that left foot. And then let the hips make a circle. So circle that knee as big or small as you want. And then again, inhale, extend that heel up to the ceiling, straightening that leg, and sweeping it back down. And we pedal those legs again. Now we want to make sure that shoulders are still pulled back and down. So we're not reaching shoulders forward. We're keeping them strong and set. When you're ready, settle the heels and inhale that left foot up to the ceiling. Creaking is normal. So if your body is talking to you, That's okay. Bend that knee, open that hip. Maybe roll that ankle. And then maybe roll the knee. Belly button stays tight to keep our lower back safe. And then inhale one more time, stretch that heel up to the ceiling, and exhale, bringing it back down. And pedal the feet, and slowly walk those feet up towards the hands for forward fold. You're going to take those feet underneath the hips, bend the knees wherever you need to, and just enjoy this beautiful fold. Stretching the hamstrings, the calves, and the lower back. Still breathing deep into the belly. And if you want, you can take right hand to left elbow, left hand to right elbow, and hang in ragdoll. And then finally let that head hang. So you might even shake it yes or no. Feel how it gets heavy. And this ragdoll really pulls and stretches through the hamstrings, lower back, shoulders. Just breathing deep, bracing the core. And then placing those hands back down underneath shoulders. Stepping the feet back to a plank. So stack the shoulders over the wrists. That plank can be on the knees or the toes. We're going to tuck those elbows in, brace the core, and lower down to our crocodile. And then releasing it fully to the floor. Squeeze the bum. Roll those shoulders back. Just a little baby cobra. Beautiful. Tuck the toes. Exhale back. And press to that down dog. And then again, pedal the heels. As deep as you want. You can add that little twist if it feels good. And when you're ready, start to walk it forward. Bracing the core. Bringing those heels underneath the hips. Knees bent. Finding ragdoll if that feels good for you. No matter where you choose for this option, make sure the belly button does engage towards the spine. And keep that breath nice and slow and deep. Release those hands. And gently step back to that high plank. Bracing the core. You can be here, you can be here. Elbows come in towards the rib cage. So tuck those elbows in close as you slowly lower all the way to the ground. Have a great day, Sandra. Brace your core, roll those shoulders back. Squeeze the bum. Good. And exhale, lowering the chest, tucking the toes, and pressing into down dog. And letting those heels just slowly pedal. And we're going to come into swan or pigeon. With the right leg, you can either inhale it up and exhale and sweep it forward, or just bring it forward. And we can settle here. If pigeon or swan is not for you, take a 90-90. Beautiful. All right. That was a lot of beginning mat work, yes. So let's just flex that front heel and then turn those hips and shoulders to the front, whether you're in swan or 90-90. And we're just going to slowly ease forward. So you can even stop halfway and just feel those hips start to shift towards the floor. And that left hip is right by that right heel. And then when you're ready, ease it maybe down to those forearms. Go ahead. Thanks, Sandra. And then you decide, you want to move it even farther forward. You can ease those hands forward. And just slowly let that head hang. So even if you're staying up, let that head hang just to stretch that spine and neck a little bit deeper. And then just play a little bit with the hips here. Let's see if we can shift those hips over that heel. And you should feel that a little bit deeper into that right good knee. The side of your hip should be feeling that stretch. You should be feeling that in your adductors. And then the front of your left leg. This pose hits a lot of different places. See if we can soften our shoulders if you need to. Ease those elbows out. With that next breath, we're going to take those hands, walking them back towards the knees. And we're going to find a stretch here. So just anchor those hands below the shoulders. Roll the shoulders back and down. Big inhale to lift the chest. And an exhale to sink into those hips. All right, let's take those hands for a walk over towards that right side. Now you might feel that that hip wants to lift up. We're going to keep it down towards that heel and then ease the chest down. So it doesn't have to be a far walk for those hands. As you lower the chest, you feel those legs stretching a little bit more. You can take those hands forward if you like. Just letting the head rest. And again, just adjusting where the hip is slightly can really change the pose. So make it feel good for your body. And then just take a minute here. Can you squeeze the muscles as you inhale? And exhale, let them soften a little bit deeper. To release any of that tension that's still hanging on. With the next inhale, we walk the hands back up, lifting the chest, and walking the hands back below shoulders. Brace the core. You can tuck that back toe under. We're going to lift the hips up and come right back into that down dog. Pedaling the legs. Letting that right knee and leg stretch. Keeping those hips lifted towards the ceiling. And then we're going to come to the other side. So whichever way you want to get there, if you want to inhale that leg up and exhale, that left leg comes forward. And we find swan, 90-90. And flex that foot. And then just decide where you want to go. Keeping those hips facing forward. Easing halfway if that feels right. So, do you need to adjust those hips to make the knee happier? Or the hips feel better. And then ease forward. With that exhale, let the body soften towards the mat. Relaxing the shoulders. And just being aware of what muscles you feel stretching and working. So if you're trying to hold the pose because it's a little bit too close to the edge, just ease the hands back a little bit, lift the chest slightly until you can relax there. Button is tight. We're going to take those hands back under the shoulders. Inhale, lift the chest. Finding that nice big squeeze think of the crown of the head reaching up towards the ceiling and the hips anchoring towards the heel. And a little walk of those hands to the left. Keep that right hip over that left heel, and then ease those hands forward, letting the chest rest on the leg if it's comfortable. And then finally letting that head hang. And if you need to, use that breath to inhale, squeeze the muscles. Exhale and relax. That core, inhale, walk those hands back up. We're going to press and lift the center of the body, and then set those hips down. Help that back leg around to the front. And we're going to take those legs wide. So you can just bend those knees. And if you want, pull the hips back, so that we're finding that long spine, so you feel the pelvis tilting forward to help straighten that spine, engaging that core. Let's flex those feet. Take a big inhale up. Brace that core. Exhale, reach forward. And your body is going to say when you need to put those hands down. Whenever that is, just rest them to the floor. And then make sure those shoulders are back and down. Brace the core. If you're ready, just ease the upper body forward. Good. Try to relax the muscles throughout the legs and soften those ankles. And then just see if we can let the head start to hang. Feel how the stretch comes through the back of the body. Take an inhale, straighten the spine. Maybe inch those hands just a little farther forward. Exhale and soften towards the mat. Letting the body soften. The knees can bend if they'd like. And then brace in the core. We're going to walk those hands back up. And we're going to inhale, arms all the way up. So stretch the spine up. Tuck that right hand under, palm up. Keep the spine long as we exhale over. And then inhale up. Very nice. Brace that core, tucking to the other side. And again, inhaling up and over to that right side. See if you can just go a little bit farther this time. And then again up. Finding that length in the spine before you ask the spine to bend. And then inhale, both arms straight up to that ceiling, lengthen. And exhale, release. Good, hands reach down, forehead starts to hang. And then just take about 3 or 4 breaths here. Adjust as you need to get that nice deep stretch. Caring for your body as you stretch. And embracing the core and slowly walk deck. Belly button is tight. We're going to take the legs over to the side and roll down to our backs. So you can hold on to those knees. You can slowly round that back and easing down. And pull those knees in towards the chest. Give them a hug. And just a little slow rock side to side. So belly stays engaged even though we're still breathing deep. And then we come back to that center. We're going to set the feet down to the floor. We're going to take the right foot up and over the left leg. And then we're going to push into that left foot to lift the hips up off the floor. Bring them to the right side and set the hips back to the floor. Take the arms out wide to T position with the palms down. Now brace the core, and we're going to slowly let that right knee pull over to the left side. So you got to keep that core nice and tight. And you might feel that right shoulder lifting. See if you can find a spot where the legs can stop and stretch. And we're just going to see how the body feels here before we move. This might feel like the right point to stop at. And you might feel like you can just adjust and lower a little bit more if you're still keeping that core pulled in tight. So nice deep twist. If you want, you can take that left hand to that right knee and just apply the slightest bit of pressure with the weight. That helps those legs to stay put. And if you look to deepen the twist, you can inhale, lift the head up and look towards the right hands, but not if you've got some neck issues. Just relax there in the center. We're going to try to soften that spine here. So we're going to give it 3 or 4 breaths to allow the spine to relax. So breathing all the way deep into the belly. And exhaling, relaxing the shoulders back towards the mat. Inhaling deeply. And exhaling, you might just feel that twist deepen as your body softens. And then we're really going to brace that core. Inhale so those legs come back up to center. Keep the legs right where they're at, but push into that left foot again to lift the hips up and recenter. Now you might need to adjust where the ankle is crossing the knee. We're going to bring those legs over to the right side. So that right leg is still over the left, taking that same leg position and twisting towards the other side. And for me, my legs don't go all the way down on this side. So just listen to your body. Again, the core is still engaged, but we're breathing deep. You might soften a little bit with an exhale. You should feel the stretch down the side of the body on the left. Through the spine. Belly button is tight. Bring those knees back up to the neutral position. And then we're going to take that right foot off. We're going to straighten the hips first. So lift those hips up, bracing the core. And make sure that spine is long as you settle it down nice and slow. And we get the other side. Left foot comes up and over. We're bracing. We're going to press into that right foot to lift the hips up slightly and take them over to the left side. That gives our spine a little more room so it stays straight as we ask it to twist. Let those knees come to the right side. And then again, just holding here a moment, becoming aware of how the body feels this side. Can you soften the legs towards the mat just a little bit more? And then maybe that right hand comes towards that left knee, just to help anchor the body towards the side. If you want a little deep twist, inhale and look over at that left hand. Shoulders relaxed. Neck is relaxed. And inhale. If your head turned, go ahead and bring it back to neutral. Brace that core. Those legs come up. We're keeping the legs linked, but we're lifting the hips back up to straighten that spine. Setting the hips back down with a straight spine, and then letting those legs gently move to that left side. And just adjust where that ankle wrap is occurring if you need a little deeper stretch or a little less. Trying to keep those shoulders close to the ground. Belly button is engaged. That helps protect our lower back while we're twisting. Bracing the core, slowly bring those legs back to neutral. Unwrapping that left leg. If you need to, you lift the hips to make sure they're straight, and then a gentle pull of those knees in towards the chest. And you can do a little rocking side to side. You can hold on to the knees and make some circles. Maybe a couple one way, and then a couple back around the other way. So just loosen that spine up again. And then coming back to neutral, we're going to find our happy baby. So it might be hands to the outside or inside. You might even have them to the inside or outside of the leg. Whatever feels most comfortable for you. And then maybe even straightening one or both of the legs. Stretching those adductor muscles, those inner thighs. Let the arms hang heavy to increase that stretch. And then pick a different position for the hands. So if you took the outside, try the inside. If you took heels, try somewhere else. Just see how that changes the stretch for the body. And again, rolling gently. And then maybe straightening one or both legs. Just nice and easy. And when you're ready, pull those knees in. A little hug here. And we're going to take the right leg straight up to the ceiling. You can link hands anywhere. And then slowly extend that left leg. So just a nice deep hamstring stretch on this right side. Bend the knee as needed. Good. And then if your foot is straight, you might try flexing it. And if it was flexed, you might just try relaxing it. And then you could just move in between those two. Just alternating a little deeper and a little And then gently bend that knee. Pull the left knee in, switching sides. Left leg is up, right leg is out. Comfortably straight, resting on the ground. See if we can relax shoulders back towards the ground. And then again, a little flex if you are pointed, point if you're flexed. And then alternate. Sometimes I like to put my hand on my hamstring and you can really feel that muscle doing the work. Stretching and releasing. You feel that tension there, and then just let it relax with the point. And then bending that knee, pulling these in. And we've come to our Shavasana, so picking any position that sounds comfortable to you. It can be seated, it can be lying flat. And if you feel like you need a little more stretching, honor your body and stretch. Just take a few moments to get settled. Wherever you're resting, you might just let the palms face up towards the ceiling so that your chest opens. And this is where we let that belly relax. It's been working all morning. Let the belly soften. And as you breathe in, let the belly lift towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, let it drop back towards the spine. Let's just see if we can slow that breath. Inhaling. And then exhaling softly. See if we can soften the eyes. Let the cheeks relax. If you need to, you might stretch and open the jaw and let it soften. And just be slightly open. And then bring that awareness to the neck. You need to adjust where your head is resting so that the neck can completely relax. Take that breath and send it down through the spine, sending warmth to loosen those muscles. Again, inhaling slowly and exhaling that breath down the spine all the way to the hips. If we're holding any tension in those hips, can we relax them? The hips really feel heavy into the mat. And letting that awareness move from the hips all the way to the knees. And you holding on to a little bit of muscle tension. You are, take an inhale, squeeze the muscles tight. Exhale and release, let go of everything. Letting the softness move down to the ankles and the toes. And from here we just breathe quietly. Be setting an intention for the day. Just one. Doesn't have to be big. Breathe that intention in deeply. Anchor it into the heart. back to the intention, inhaling it deep, letting it settle. Keeping that intention in the mind as you begin to wake the fingers and the toes. That movement just slowly roll up your body. You might just be shifting the hips slightly, a little side to side. And when you're ready, rolling gently to that right side, tuck the hands underneath the head so that the head stays in alignment. And just rest here for a few breaths. Again, keeping the mind focused on today's intention. And when you're ready, slowly pushing to any seated position. Just letting those palms rest up. Find that long spine. Take that inhale. Let's sweep the arms all the way out. Gather up that intention for the day. Exhale, pull it down through the heart. Again, pulling that intention in as we breathe. And pulling it right down to the heart. And just resting here for a moment as we set our mind for the day. And I thank you for sharing a little time with me today. Namaste. Thank you guys for sharing your Friday morning with me. Take your time, or Sunday morning.